Hello, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and welcome to the very last, final episode of Dragon Age Resurgence. It's been over a year since we've been through this, right, guys?
Yep,
Feels like just yesterday we were going through auditions.
I
So
know.
this
You're
is a
passing
very
the torch. You're leaving us.
this is always a very bittersweet time for me. I already started, like I said, looking at the next campaign that we're going to be doing, but hopefully, uh, I hope you guys had a great time, and it'll be really fun to see these players and these characters off, and just see how their story ends. Um, So let's start with a warm up like we always do. And I did prompt everybody ahead of time just to make it easier on them what the warm up question will be. And I wanted each person to share their favorite moment from this campaign from the player's point of view. Who would like to go first?
So it may seem strange, but my favorite moment in the campaign was during our in-person session when Hugh said goodbye to Cedric. It was such an emotional and raw moment for me. I don't know if anyone could see on the camera, but I was crying so hard in front of everybody. And I was about to say, like, you guys, we have to stop because I'm about to it was really, really sad and just so honest. And I loved that moment so much.
Oh,
Great.
it was really sad.
It was so sad.
There are a lot of really cool moments, but I think the one that really stood out to me, just in terms of story and character growth, was recent. When Kenna finally faced off with her mom and basically laid down the law and said, nope, I'm in charge now. You're going to be listening to me. Yeah, just to finally see that growth in her, because that's like the strongest that she has been, and it was just a very triumphant moment. I liked it.
Really good. I liked the party in Orzammar. I thought that was a lot of fun. It was fun to just mess with Sevion. I enjoyed that way too much, like way too much. And it was cool also because that was when Cedric turned himself in, and we finally got to figure out what was going on with him after that. So I enjoyed that for that reason. I just really like messing with Sevion. So
I approve.
We all...
Getting Hugh back. I was waiting for a long time to welcome Hugh back in amongst our ranks, and just having Cedric like reach out his hand and shake Hugh's hand and say welcome back was like a really, really good moment. Not only for Cedric but for me as well, because like Sam's once Hugh left, like if you just go back and watch that, you can just see how destroyed I am after that session. Like I was just like, my hand was like on my head, and like I was just like leaning on my arm like the whole time. Like it like destroyed me. And even like Hannah can confirm this, like next couple days I was just like, so upset.
He was like in a very real state of mourning.
Yeah. So getting Hugh back was just like such a redeeming moment for me, and also Cedric.
The only thing that stands out in my head is the session where I got to actually be there with you guys. I really liked that a lot, and seeing you guys in person, but I feel like that was more to do with the people that I was around than what happened in session. But that to me will always be the standout of this campaign, to get to be there in person with you guys.
That was really fun.
Yeah, but if I had to pick a particular scene in character, it would probably be I would say it's probably the session after Theo died, and he came back, and there was a lot of group discussion. There was a lot of RP. Theo got his own back on Kenna, which is like one of my favorite scenes to RP, and and then getting to RP him in that mindset was really fun for me and really interesting to play. And it was following a session where I had my camera off, but I was watching people like actually cry on screen at my character's death, and that was such a humbling moment for me. It was nice to see how Theo had affected everybody.
What about you, Hark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
My favorite.
Who do you really love most of all?
Well, no, what I was actually going to say was, originally I was thinking that I was going to pick something from session 1, because I feel like I'm not allowed to just say session 1, because it's just cool to see all the characters, like not only seeing the characters establish themselves, but just watching you as players establish your characters, because just as a GM, it's just really, there's just something really interesting watching the players figure out their characters when they first start role-playing them, because, you know, on paper you can do all your preparation and figure out everything that you can about the details of your character and what their personality is like, but until you actually like get yourself into their skin, it's just really interesting to see all the little light bulbs clicking, and you're like, yeah, I get this character. But if you were to ask me to force myself to pick a scene and not an entire session, I really liked, the one that stood out was when everybody was kind of fighting, and then Kenna gave that speech, if you remember, where you guys first discover combining your abilities as one. And I love that moment, because I was like, that was the first time the Penta'Viv Guardians were really reborn. That was the first time that they actually became heroes, like as a group instead of individually. And that's, I think, was the beginning of the team being a team. Of course, there were, you know, bumps in the road after that. But I think that was when your characters were forever changed for the better as a group, as a team, as a party. So, yeah, I would have to say that was my favorite.
Isn't the main thing that we have to discuss what we're going to do about?
Like which element?
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that Helisair is going to be fairly loath to leave the war room, since Hugh has gone out of his way to paint such a very lovely up to the second picture.
Oh, the real time thing. That was such cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So, sacrificing an element.
Yes.
Or more.
Several.
Or none.
What?
Or none.
I'm just going to, let's just go down the list, all right?
Yes,
All right.
let's do that.
Water. Water would shrink our water supply and make the water that we have worse. And we are an agricultural world.
Yes.
So that sounds like civilization ending, especially considering the way that Ferelden's going right now.
Yes.
2, air. Air is going to cause a lot of storms, ruin the air quality, ruin any electrical things, but whatever. But also, worse air quality and more clouds equals worse crops. 3, Earth. Our Earth will be destroyed. So we can't really grow crops as well. People will starve. We already have alienages full of starving people.
I think some dogs can hear Andrea right now.
Probably. Ferelden.
4, fire. This is my favorite one. Magic will be diminished, which I don't really care about. However, our crops will need more sun, and we will need more food. People are already starving. That's a double whammy. It means we need more food, but we'll be able to grow less. Either the way, people are starving to death. What are we gonna do?
Well, if I could just express something that I've been thinking. As Andrea has very eloquently stated, they're all a bit shit.
A bit is a bit too small. I think it's a lot of shit.
Yes.
So,
I think my sister has the right of it.
but if we pick one of these elements, that thing will suffer. That unequivocally, that will disappear. And it will, or it will lessen, or things will be harder.
Mm-hmm.
If all of us put in our powers, then the effects lessen and they spread to different regions, cultivating trade. Ultimately, there will be areas that will be lacking certain and areas that don't. You can make sure supply and demand means that people will still have large bodies of water to give to other regions. Whereas if we pick water, just as an example, everywhere suffers.
Once again, we have to figure out. I think we're looking to immediately, because we are in the immediate. Even if we do take a little bit of each, that's great for now, and in theory it should help bring everyone together. But the Sevians of the world and the Cain, the greed doesn't die just because the world goes through anything.
You are exactly right, but if we pick one element, essentially one thing, or at least one thing, will just be forever lessened. There will be nowhere and no one that has access to that. In my mind, having something exist is better than it not existing.
I agree. Might I suggest one concern, because I don't know how it works. With the magic, does that diminish the fade as well, or are mages in that area just going to be possessed constantly because they have less magic, but the demons retain their connection? Because that would be bad. That would be very bad. So if they have less connection to us and we have less connection to them, that would be fine. But
so magic in and of it, to clarify, magic in itself is not necessarily diminished if you choose fire, for example. It just means that you will require more mana to cast spells. You will require more stamina to do abilities. People in general will become more lethargic, aka everybody across the board will get negatives to their strength and constitution across the board all throughout Thedas. So that's basically what that means.
So everybody's gonna carb, and that's not
have fun, future
We're
warriors
gonna have
in
yes.
season 3.
So that'll be, because what you choose can definitely affect how people build their characters, what the character creation is going to be like now in the next season.
I'm worried about doing everything, but it does seem like a good option, Theo, considering everything else is a terrible option.
Yeah.
We really have no idea what the void does at all.
Nope.
Because I would
True.
We have never been a group to dip into the unknown ever. I
know. But everything else could be civilization ending. I'm kind of on board with the world not ending, and I feel like everything else could end it. We don't know
if that is also world ending, though. What are the odds that there's a bunch of stuff? I know, but what are the odds that all this stuff is so shit, and then something that comes from the same origin is also super good?
I know, and I hear you, except if everything else will end the world, then why not just take the chance that this one won't? Just throwing that out there. I'm not pushing, but everything else will end the world. Why not take a shot on the one thing we're not sure about?
But it could be
There are
worse.
several
I mean, what if
options, we're not
it's
sure.
everything? I mean, Ether was Kenna, who was represented as being part of all of us, the glue that held us together. So what if Ether does the same thing with the elements? What if it gives you just a worse version of everything?
I agree. It's just everything else will already destroy it. It's just a thought. I mean, maybe if we do throw everything in, that would be the best option. I don't know.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just something to think on.
Mm.
We're assuming that people will want to trade if we throw everything in. What's
Precisely.
to stop Taventa from just taking stuff?
Well,
They will.
But first
And
of
the
all,
ones
like,
who have all the water are going to sell it back at a premium to the ones who don't. And the ones who can breathe easy will certainly make it a lot more expensive to live there.
I'm definitely not saying that the option doesn't have cons,
Yes.
but there's always a chance of war and there are always reasons to go to war. But if you're a country and you're looking at, well, hey, we've got, say, our crops dying, but, you know, over there they have this, they're going to throw all their resources and their men trying to acquire that rather than engage in supply. When somewhere has something that you want and you have something they want, it would be stupid. And every country is going to suffer no matter what choice we make today. Nobody's going to be in a state to go to war.
Except
And
for the
yet
king.
everyone still will, because people who are frightened attack first.
Except for the Kuhn. Can I say, like, the Kuhn will be in a perfect position to go to war, and they'll have the perfect reason. Look at the world. It has gone into a disarray, and we are in chaos. The Kuhn hates chaos. They will go to war to stop that. That's what they do.
The Kuhn is still
And-
part of, okay, so this is kind of out of character. The Kuhn is still part of Thedas. Parvolan is still a part of Thedas. It's just northern Thedas. And in the description you gave, Hark, you said Thedas will be divided into regions.
Yes, into five different regions.
Does this mean that the
Yeah,
Kunari lands would be affected as well?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Everybody.
I wasn't saying they wouldn't be affected. I'm saying
Okay.
they're right now. They weren't affected by the blight, though. They're already at full strength. It didn't get that high. Like Taventa and the Kuhn were the ones that didn't get hit by that blow.
I think we have to think about the fact that war is probably, if it is going to happen, inevitable anyway. I mean, any resource becoming limited causes wars. That just happens.
Yeah.
Yes. The only other option is to take a risk on either or do nothing. This world is going to be plunged into chaos one way or the other. So I guess we have to choose what kind of chaos we're willing to fight for.
I'd like to believe, this is Connor speaking, if hypothetically you chose one of the known elements, I'd like to believe that somehow we can come up with advances to overcome, something to make the quality of water better, something to make the quality of earth better. I'd like to believe we could.
Developments take a lot of time, years.
Yeah. We're talking thousands of people will be dying yearly because they're starving.
On the other hand, Violetta says, if we were to try to make the effects more subdued across the board and do a little bit of everything, dividing it into 5 regions, that will essentially lock you all to your, I'd hate to say this, Penta'Viv Guardian duties indefinitely. That means that if, for example, each of the regions has their own particular element that is lacking in quality, that would mean that you would be responsible for helping make things better for those regions. You 5 would be guardians of those specific regions. Andrea making the water better for the part where the water is worse. Theoben being tied to the region wherever the earth is weak.
Which means that instead of doing that, if we pick one element, we're subjecting one of us to trying to fix this.
And moreover, if we did choose if we chose that first option, then what happens in the in-between when, one of us ends and has to wait to inherit ourselves again? That could take a very long time. And what happens to those lands in the meantime?
Well, whoever
I
gets
wish-
to Venta doesn't have to do anything.
I fully understand that this is a horrible decision, and again, I wish I had a better solution that gave us all a happy ending, but unfortunately I do not.
Of course.
If we're all putting our bracers in, does that include me, or would that only be the 4 of you? Because then if I'm putting my bracer in anyway, I mean...
It would have to be all 5, dear.
So, either way...
Either way, we'll find out what yours does.
If not,
Yeah.
if you don't, in theory, if this were even going to work, if you don't all put in your energy towards this barrier at once, then the element that will take is the first one. So it's either the first one or all at the same time.
Another thing to consider, if I'm remembering this right from last session, we have to get to the point in which we can make this decision. We have to get to the orb.
Yes.
God forbid one of us falls. That option won't be there. So we should, at the very least, even if we did decide to do that, have a plan B.
I think
You're
plan
right.
B should be the void, because we don't know, and anything else would hurt to the point where I don't know if we'd recover. At the very least, we don't know what the void would do. I think everything else would destroy us. But I think the first option should be we all do it. I think that's a good choice. It's just, I don't know.
Okay.
Should we not also think about allowing this to happen?
Yes, we should.
I mean,
Yes.
the original Penta'Viv Guardians were fighting so that the world stayed that way, right?
True.
So, I mean, it couldn't have been that bad if we were fighting to keep it that way.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but what the Penta'Viv Guardians were summoned to do, we've only heard that from Mafarath, that we were summoned to do this. I'm inclined not to believe the bad guy.
We were told by the
Moreover,
Guardians.
it
Our
seems...
past selves told us as well.
Yes.
That we were to dispel a great evil, but
No,
not...
the originals came in because they were sparks powered by the creation, and their job was to protect the balance. And then of course something happened, and then the veil was lifted, and I don't know, they failed. The originals failed because they were supposed to keep the veil away.
We're living in that repercussion of their failure. So if we were
That
to...
was... Sorry.
Go
That
ahead,
was
go ahead.
that was then, though. We have been living in a fadeless world for Maker knows how long. If
Yeah.
we suddenly put the fade back in, who knows how many countless deaths?
Isn't that where all
It's
the
the
spirits...
same
Isn't that where all the
number of
spirits and
countless
demons live?
deaths.
All the demons, don't they live up there? Like, I don't know much about the Fade, but I don't want them coming down here.
This is this is the problem. We are faced with there is going to be a loss of life one way or the other. And that's kind of the entire point. This next number of generations will not know anything other than the strife that we are about to bring to it, either through our action or through our inaction. Maybe several generations later, they will be saying what we have just said, that we have now lived so long in a world separated from the Fade that this is all we know. there's going to be fright, and there's going to be a lot of people needing a lot of help, one way or the other.
That's true.
And that really makes me feel like it should either be one of us or none of us. Because if we need to help people and we are tied to one land forever, that's no good either.
So what are you suggesting?
I don't know. Either choose one element or welcome back, Mother Fade. I don't like any of these.
I still think
Your point of people are going to die no matter what is true.
Yes.
But when you introduce the Fade, I am willing to bet my sword that you double or triple the amount of death that will happen. Because you will not only have chaos and war, but also demons and Maker knows what else coming down and killing people in their own homes. Like, you can hide in a city walls from the enemy, but demons?
But for once, I agree with Cedric on this one.
I don't know. I had someone who wasn't magical go into the Fade, and he came out with these really great abilities that were so useful. I mean, he could transport us to places and we could see things.
Oh, what is his name?
Oh, no.
He can't do it anymore, I don't think. I think it was just a fate.
Mm-hmm. His name?
I don't remember his name. But...
Look at the time!
If only I had his name written on several things in my possession.
I don't... the point is...
To the dungeon? No, I'm just kidding.
If only his name was a name we keep mentioning every single session.
I'm just saying, it could be a great thing. It could change us all in new and fantastic ways.
It could.
Terrible ways.
It could very legitimately be either.
We might as well be throwing the void crystal in there if we're going to do that. We don't know what's going to happen.
Maybe we should.
I just wanted to bring another perspective. I didn't say it. I just...
No, you are right to do so.
Yeah, if you remember his name, tell me, because...
Cedric.
I'll do my best.
What? That sounds pretty dangerous to me.
As someone who spends a lot of time in the Fade, I don't really like the thought of it just because at any moment a wraith could just seep into your home and eat your children. Like, to me, that's really, really scary. There is nothing we can do to defend ourselves except for mages and Templars. Like, no one else has that ability.
But are there not also helpful spirits who might just as easily come on in and instead of eating your child, bless your child?
Yeah, except by spending time with humanity, spirits turn into demons because they get tempted.
Is that due to? Is that due to this veil?
It's due to us. It's you follow the chant. I can do this. In the chant, the Maker's firstborn children did not have drive. They didn't have ambition. They didn't have desires. The second-born children are us.
Yes.
We were imbued with those things. And it is us who affect the firstborn children and change them. And speaking as someone who's dealt with spirits, yes, spirits are beautiful and wonderful, but when we ask them to do things, it doesn't work like that. Like, they can be altered by us, by our desires. My spirit, for example, got frighteningly aggressive in order to fulfill my my purpose, right to the point where she could have turned into a demon if we didn't keep an eye on her.
Can I speak?
Please.
Of course.
I have to speak on behalf of somebody who isn't here. I happened on my way here to come across somebody who had been to Navarra where the Fade opened up. He came with a friend, a mage. She did not make it. The magic got to her, overwhelmed her. She turned into an abomination, and Templars cut her down right in front of him. I'm speaking on his behalf to say he would probably not want a world where that would happen again.
Certainly.
Mages who are in control can lose control in the Fade. If it's everywhere, we could all just become possessed. Demons prey on us because they can use us for power.
The theory also is demons prey on us because we would be their extension into the real world. To them, the Fade is a prison.
Yes.
And part of the reason why they are aggressive, again, this is a theory, is because they are constantly trying to break out of the prison and actually make their way back into our world, which is where they originally came from. I suppose we should consider that perhaps there will be less so if the worlds merge. There's nothing left for them to be aggressive about. They're here. They're experiencing it, and perhaps maybe that means they will not need to possess anyone anymore because they're here.
Maybe. Or maybe not.
As I said, it's only a theory. But just playing devil's advocate, I'm just throwing it out there.
You are
It
speaking
just makes
my
me
thoughts
very
as well.
scared.
Of course. This is terrifying.
I just wanted to express that, yes, we can seal up the Fade. But there are other beings, spirits, who I'm sure have seen the Fade as a prison, and sealing them back up would, well, it would be sad for them as well. And Theobin, to be fair, out of character, you might remember something that Owlette told you about Loquisha and the rest of them, of how happy they are finally being able to live amongst everyone. Part of it's because they, for their entire existence, have lived in a prison, unlike the rest of you all, who have lived free on this world. So just to remind that, to Theobin.
Owlette wouldn't go around killing people.
No.
Demons would.
No.
He wouldn't. But remember, the Fade is not just full of demons.
I'm well aware.
Just like the world is not just full of bad people who want to murder you.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Except for Cedric, he likes to murder a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I always think that people want to murder me. So.
We have to make changes to the world. That's unavoidable. Our job is to decide what and how large it is, and that is the biggest change. To me, that's more of a gamble than the void, that will turn out all right.
Should we at least take a pulse and find out if it was up to them what they would choose?
It's wise. We need to be agreed when we set in.
But it would be good to find out what each individual person thought.
Yes.
No judgment, just say what you feel, and then we can discuss it based on that.
Okay. Well, I've already expressed my... I don't know if it's just me being a merchant that influences that, but I think rather than taking all of a resource away, leaving it in some supply would be good. But that is my option.
all in is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All at the same time. Okay.
Alright.
Who else?
I agree that should be our first option. But if it's not possible, we have to think of what else we can do. So that would be my first choice too.
I would choose fire. Because it's one of the 5, and it means that, people are going to need more energy. Yes, but more energy can be worked towards. We've seen some pretty interesting people and some we've seen some amazing things, my friends, and I think that of all of the elements, if we have to go with a known one, needing extra energy seems to be the least offensive of all of these options. And I'm sure that, a couple of rounds with Cedric running up and down stairs will just help everyone.
I mean, I think that the all-in sounds nice, but you all are so afraid of what my bracer's going to do that you're basically going to allow one part of the world to it. And it seems, I don't know. I mean, what if it is really bad and I end up killing the whole entire country that was affected by it?
Any one of them could do that quite easily.
No, we could fight that, but what if I destroy somebody or a whole place just ends up black and nothing? I mean, that would be on me. And I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
But everything that you've been saying makes sense. So if the group decides for the all-in, then I suppose I will. I don't know. I'm worried about the people I would be affecting.
We are all affecting everyone one way or the other.
True. Yeah, I get that. But it's a gradual thing that maybe we can fight against. If I wipe out an entire place like a big bomb.
I understand. I understand completely. It's any scenario in which we use your bracer, we're hoping. We're just hoping it doesn't.
Sure. But I'm the one who has to live with it. That's all I'm saying.
I know. And as the
It's
person
true.
that has to live with it, your concerns are very valid.
Kenna, you're right. I know this is a selfish thing, but if we throw them all in there, we'll never be able to see each other again. You know that, right?
How do you figure?
We have to stay with our sections. We have to stay in our region.
Well, yes.
It's selfish, but I think we should keep it in mind.
I know.
This might be our last day together.
You need to vent it. I won't go there.
I get that. We should make the most of the time we have left. It is us putting our Penta'Viv Guardian responsibilities above who we were before.
Violetta says, to be fair, you're not bound by any way to the regions. It's just, you're right, that would be the region where you would most be needed. And I guess you would decide on your own how often you need to be there.
Like an
For that region.
extended vacation, maybe. And coming back together means coming home.
I'd like to believe you could have weekends, but then again, as I said, I don't know.
Let's just get some. I mean, if we succeed in this and we do the whole thing, I mean, I have responsibilities to my people now. If
Yeah.
I'm across the world, how can I take care of them and my section? I feel like I'm being selfish, but I don't know what to do.
It's good to think of. It's good to think of everything, regardless of what we decide. We should know all the good and bad that comes from whatever we pick.
I've made a lot of promises to a lot of people, and if I were to not live up to those,
Perhaps your people would be strengthened when they come with you to where you need to be.
Kenna raises a good point. I'm a Templar. I mean, I know I can just go to whatever circle or tower, but if I continue to leave to aid my section, they're gonna start asking questions on where I'm going and what I'm doing.
I know. I as everybody has already said, it is a selfish but necessary thought for us all to have, but we're not affecting our lives the most. We're affecting the world the most.
Yes.
The other option is for you to entrust your bracers, if only temporarily, to others. Of course, that person would not be able to wield it as well as you would. But it's an option. I'm just trying to find ways that you would not have to be handcuffed to a life of, well, what I think all of you are thinking.
The thing that keeps coming back to my mind is whatever the outcome of what we do, if we are successful, and I pray to the Maker that we are, whatever outcome we do is going to be world-changing. You will not have the luxury of maintaining your Templar vows. We are changing the world, your name, unless we are careful. They will know you. You will not be Cedric the Templar. You will be Cedric the Lord of Air.
Yeah,
Might be a little more difficult to
title.
explain that away.
No, I'm Cedric the Templar, please.
I don't get me wrong. I don't ever want to give your head that much of a boost, my friend.
I don't want my
But
head
no.
to get that much of a boost.
My point is, you'll be known. So I don't think it will be so easy to sneak away from your circles.
so if
I'll
I
make-
do end up killing everybody, everyone will know. That's
And we'll be targets.
Hugh speaks up and says, I will ensure that Cedric will be who he needs to be.
Excellent.
And the same goes for all of you.
Thank you.
And I will be where I need to be. I can open a shop anywhere. I'd rather not raise my daughter into Vinter, but
Screw
It's not
that
bad.
place.
They have nice clothes.
Why would you even go there?
So have you all made the decision then?
Let them starve.
No. No, because Kenneth's point is still incredibly valid. What happens to the region that gets
There's-
doomed with void?
as I say,
What if it
like,
turns into a black hole and starts swallowing up the rest of the world? We don't know what's going to happen.
I know there's literally
black
like, if I mean, we either pick something with Kenna's in it, or we don't. Either way, it's a complete unknown. There's no way to weigh up the options here.
Yes.
Can we put in 4 and not Kenna's?
Yeah.
No, I don't like it then. Like, I was all for it before. I changed my mind. I'm scared now. I don't want to do it. Just like,
There's always the go big or go home strategy. Just throw in Kinnas, and if we all die, who cares? But hey, it could fix everything.
If we're doing that anyway, then you might as well just do
Yeah,
nothing
then-
and allow
then
the fade
If
in.
we're just throwing Kennas in anyway, rather than dooming the whole world, let's doom a region of it.
You're gonna no.
Like,
Let's spin the wheel and see who gets to die. Yes.
I'm pretty sure that the people who didn't suffer in the blight were happy they didn't suffer in the blight. They didn't wish that it affected everywhere.
don't
maybe
think
they
they'll
would have
be-
liked if it wasn't as concentrated.
Maybe people would like it if there was more water. Maybe people would like it if there was more energy. Maybe there is no way. There is no way. I wish there was. There is no way to not cause pain to someone.
I think
Having
anyone.
lived through
I
that.
think. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, by all means.
I was just gonna say. I think any one by itself could be like civilization ending, as I've said, including Kenna's, because we don't know what it does. So,
Having lived through the entirety of that blight, yes, you are going to find people of every type, no matter where you go, even in the thick of that darkness. You're going to have people who stand and protect each other, and you're going to have people who, like many of Ferelden's citizens, fled to a safer place. There's not going to be anywhere for anyone to flee. And yes, you're going to run into people who are going to bemoan their loss and why couldn't it have hit my neighbor's house instead of mine?
That's my point.
Yes.
If we pick
it
just
is.
one element, there is no safer place. The world is just lesser or something.
Oh, not
Yes.
at all.
I don't know what to do. They're all shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of them. There's nothing good.
No, I know.
There's nothing good that we can wrap our minds around.
We don't know
We
what
get-
the severity is.
Precisely.
Anyway. Like, what if we throw the
Again.
water one in and it only like lowers the water level like an inch?
This thing affects the whole world. Like,
Yes.
even throwing off the percentage, a small amount affects everything.
Yes, but I mean, you can still
and-
work around it.
Again, flipping it round, because we started this conversation talking about Kenna's ability as if it might do something good. And now we're talking like it's definitely going to doom everyone.
It could go either way.
Exactly. I just wanted to make that clear.
That is a good reminder. Kenna, would the previous iteration of you know anything?
Yeah. Can we talk to our past selves? How did we do that? What the hell do they think?
Do you guys want to go to the Penta'Viv vault and maybe try and communicate with them?
I think maybe that's our only hope of getting any kind of answer, though admittedly I don't hold
You want to try
much
to
hope.
talk to the gods.
Yeah,
do it
why
without
not?
our
I mean, the
braces?
world's about to end. I think this is the time to talk to him. Don't you?
Can we
And
talk to them
technically,
without our braces? Like, I know we can get to the vault or whatever because you fixed the thing, but can we talk to them without the braces?
We still have our marks. Our spirits are still affected. So
That's true.
maybe.
I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't try. I'm just.
I mean, this thing affects our soul. It was never in the bracer.
if
Yeah.
if there was ever a time where we should beckon a god's help, I think this might be it. Like,
Whoa. Gods, come on.
And then, what do you think the maker is then?
We're not the gods, though. Like, our past selves
no.
are not the gods.
No,
Well,
we are the champions of Kenna's gods, whether they are spirits or whatever they are. Gods, I don't know.
Okay, so how do we do
That's
it? Do
what
we
we
like
are.
do we sing a prayer to the sky or something? I have no clue how it works.
Dance naked in the rain. No.
There's no naked dancing.
If you want to do it anyway,
mean-
Cedric, you know.
I'm kind of feeling like maybe we should. I'm just,
Wait, should sing or should dance naked?
Yeah, I'm confused.
both. I'm into both.
Surprising
What I
nobody.
know is that the augurs of every hold did have the ability to talk to the spirits who helped guide each hold when they had troubles. I don't know how they did it, if they did it with magic or if there was a certain ritual.
I'm a spirit mage. Like, we can do this. But
Then I don't know if we go to our thing in the mirror or if we should go to the hold, or I suppose, I mean, I guess the mirror thing would work.
yeah, the vault, hopefully.
I could see if it's a long shot, but I could see if Esbjörn might know. I mean, he's
Sure.
been with our hold for a while. Maybe our previous augur used him. He's a connection to the gods. He's a representation of their strength. So I could see if, I mean, I'm not supposed to talk to him a lot, but I feel like this is one of those important moments.
Yeah, I agree.
You
I
get
think so.
information from. So I could. Is he? I forget if he was in the room with us. I don't remember.
He's in the room. He's in the room with you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, talking about you like you're not here.
Well, let's put it this way. If it doesn't work, what have we lost?
Right.
Time. Just kidding. Sorry, go ahead.
You're not wrong.
All right, just everybody move back. Then just scoot,
Okay.
and she'll sort of kneel and go eye to eye with Esbjorn, and she'll cast Speak with Animals.
Cast.
She's talking to the bear again.
Another mage ability. I
Yeah.
You cast the spell, and something washes over Esbjörn, and he shakes a little bit as if his being changes, just like that he changed before. And he will speak directly to you and say, Henna,
Esbjorn.
I see that you have a lot of pain within you, a lot of confusion.
Do you understand what's happening? The choice that's in front of us.
He nods.
Is there a way that we can ask the gods for guidance in this? We are but tools. Surely they have some direction for us to be used.
I sense that the best way for you to contact with the gods is to go back to where this all started, when you all met.
Okay. And from there, do you know how we can tap into that?
Your previous selves, your souls, they were connected to the sparks. They are, as you said, an extension of the creation itself. The chamber of the Penta'Viv Guardians was made specifically for you, in order for you to become reborn and reacquire your abilities necessary to restore balance to the world that constantly finds itself imbalanced. Because you are about to make a decision that will affect creation itself, I'd like to believe that the gods would come to you before you do.
So would I. Thank you, Esbjorn. And then she'll release the spell and let him go back.
Do we
He shakes again.
do we like give him a fish or something to say like good boy?
Yes, he would appreciate that.
Okay. And Theo's gonna shuffle out of the room and go get a fish. Got it. Hands it to Esbjorn.
Thank you, Theo. So, it looks like our assumption is right. And Esbjorn advises that what we should do is go to where it's all started, to the vault, to where the sparks were. I think if we were... Do you remember those marks on the ground? Before we all just stood on them, I think if we stepped on ours individually and concentrated, I think the gods may have guidance for us.
If only someone had suggested that last time we were back there.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah, if only, but I mean, someone dropped the ball and not doing that.
I don't know what will happen. I don't know if they're just going to talk to us or if they're going to bless us in some way. I think it's worth a shot with how indecisive we are at the moment. I think it's what's best.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah, let's go talk to your gods. Weirdest sentence ever.
If I may, you need to have an open mind to do this. You need to believe in, I wouldn't say the gods, but at least in yourself. You know, you can't just go in there expecting results. You have to have a spiritual, I don't know the word, but just believe.
I can talk to our gods as long as they understand the stone is the way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about religion.
Maybe don't tell them that.
It's just more about that you believe.
Yeah.
And yourself, at least.
I
And
believe
your
the
bracer.
makers better.
I'm not talking about your religion.
Okay, I'll believe in me. I believe in Theo.
I don't know. Just have a...
Yeah, believe in you, and whether you believe it's a spirit or a god, it doesn't matter. It's a powerful entity that we need.
Yes.
You guys make your way back in through the mirror, and you go to the chamber of the Penta'Viv Guardians. Again, as we said earlier, the chamber opens because of their marks, not because of their bracers. Mm-hmm. So you guys can open the gate, and you find yourself in the chamber once again, in addition to Eric's soulstone.
Oh, can I go to it?
Yep, it's still there.
Just kidding.
Yeah, we put it in the middle thing.
I know. It's just
Still there.
holding the stone.
Oh, it's the big one? Oh, okay.
Oh, anyone else getting nostalgic?
When you guys go into your respected spots, you can feel your marks tingling again. Theobin, you feel you feel very stable. You feel anchored. Halisair, you feel a great soothing warmth welling up from inside. Andrea, you feel very fluid, very calm. Cedric, you feel very light, not only physically but emotionally. And Kenna, you just have an all-around very soothing, comforting feeling from inside of you.
Totally wrong.
And after a moment, you guys black out, and you end up in the same sensation that I described to you before when you guys spoke with your other selves originally. You don't see anything, but you can feel each other's presence in whatever during this trance.
I believe in me. I believe in me. I believe in me. I believe in me.
We seek guidance.
You hear your own voice respond back and say, "We gave you as much information as we could from when we were you back in the day. What more do you need from us?"
We are faced with a decision, and we need more information about whatever it is you'd be willing to give us. What would my bracer do if we were to choose it?
When you say that, you feel another presence different from your previous self. You start to feel the presence, it's feminine. You sense wings. You sense birds. You sense the sky itself. You just are about to place your finger figuratively on who this presence is when you start to see a vision. In that vision, you see the entire world of Thetis divided up into 6 different regions. You don't know specifically which location. You don't know whether it's Devinter, is this in the region, you don't know if it's Ferelda's is in this region, but you just see Thetis and feel Thetis. They're divided up into 6 different regions. In one region, the world is under eternal darkness. Another region, eternal light. A third region is eternal light half the year, eternal darkness the other half the year. A fourth region is the opposite of that. Eternal darkness half the year, eternal light half the year. So they're diametrically opposite. The last 2 regions that are not next to each other is normal. 12 hours daylight, 12 hours darkness, like normal. And then the vision ends.
And did we all see that, or was that just me?
Only you.
Okay. I understand. Thank you, lady. Should we ask anything else?